Okay, so let's start. What do you write about the project development team? So one question one student has asked me is, he looked through the agenda, the table of contents, he said, hey, the project development team is our team, right? Your team running the project, right? And there's also team structure here, so what's the difference? So today I'm going to go through the difference. Development team here, you write it at a higher level. You write about how many members in your team, what are the different roles that you will have in this team, okay? And what are the different groups. Maybe you have a back-end software development team, a front-end team, a business requirements team, and a testing team. So if you have that, you can describe all of that. And the different type of job roles, there'll be 2 developers, there'll be 1 business analyst, and that's what they'll be doing. So you write it at a very high level about your team, to introduce your team to the client. Then you have to start writing about the client, okay? So this is where your research and imagination comes in. So for example, if, let's take one example, okay? Reservation system of movie tickets. So I assume your client would be a cinema, right? Because you're writing the reservation system. So think about a name for your client, it's a cinema, and talk about their background. Of course, this one you have to either research or you have to make up a few things because this is an imaginary client, right? It's not a real client, right? Talk about their background, how long they've been in business, what their objective and goal of this project is, what their business challenges are. So we come up with a few things like that because that will help you write the project background here. Okay. The project client, that will help you with writing this one here about the client. Okay. Then you can expand it further under the nature of business and the reasons for them wanting to do this project. So you should document under project client what some of their current challenges are, their business challenges are, so that when you talk about their nature of business and the reasons, you know you can talk about, now this is why they want to do it, okay? Because of some of the problems that they've been having. So this whole section here, I think if you can write a full 1 page, I think it should be more than enough. Okay? So just write about 1 page, 1.5 page for this first section here. Let me just double confirm. Yeah, I think 1 page should be fine. So 1 page should be fine here for this guy. Okay? So remember, have a clear idea of who your client is, what their business is, a bit about their background, and what are their challenges and the reasons that they want to do this. So for example, in the cinema example, the ticket reservation system, could be this is a new cinema that's just come to Malaysia, or could be a new startup, a new company set up who wants to run cinemas. And
So must be new?
No, can be an existing, can be an old business as well. I'm just giving you examples. Yeah. So if it's an old cinema company, could be one of those really old cinemas who hasn't modernized anything. They're still using people queuing up to buy tickets, and they want a self-service kiosk system or a web-based system for ticketing. So you could come out with that scenario. Okay. And today they are having, if it's an old company, you can say today they're having challenges. Customers are not very happy, and because they have to queue up, and sometimes the queues can be very long, and people are cutting queues, so that's one of the challenges. And so they are losing customers because customers are now going online and enjoying the other, the ticket buying process from other cinema competitors. So you can write about that as well. Okay. What else? Okay, so I think that should be enough. 1 page, you have more than enough to write. Then let's talk about project cost estimation. You can actually do this in Microsoft Project, but I think for the purposes of this assignment, I suggest you do it manually so you can do it quickly, and let me give you the structure of how you can do it and what you can write inside. So I'll draw the board. Today I'll be using the board a lot to give you all the examples so you can prepare. So first thing you want to do in your project cost estimation, you can prepare a table, and the table will look like this. You will have the month on top, the table. So if you think of a table like this, the months will go across horizontally. Let's say your new project wants to start in the month of August. August this year. And remember, your project is supposed to be 3 to 4 months only, or 3 to 5 months at most. So don't go and choose a system where the scope is so big, next 3 years to complete, okay? So make sure you reduce your scope after the start. So August, September, October, let's say 4 months, November. So this is your project timeline, you know that you're going to do. And what you can put in here are categories for cost estimation. Something similar, if you want to shorten it, you can as well. Forgot one more column for number. Okay, number 1. So first thing you want to do is your project team. Your project team, all your team members, you have to pay them, right? Salaries, so you need to budget the cost of how much to pay them. And this one, unfortunately, I don't have any guidance for you in terms of how much you want to pay them. So you're going to do some research. I'm not going to penalize you if you put, some really odd number, but try to get as realistic as you can. So for example, project team member, first member we have to budget in is the project manager. Then probably I need a business analyst, because somebody has to talk to the user to collect all the requirements. Then of course I have my software engineers. Then I have maybe my software tester. I think that's enough for my project team. Should be enough. You can indicate how many of them. So I need 1 here. I need 1 business analyst and software engineer. Maybe I need 4 of them because I have such a short runway to complete the project. So I need 4 software engineers. The software tester, I think maybe I need 1. But you could double up. Your software engineer could be your tester. So you really don't need to add 1 here. So it's really up to you. Okay. So that's 1. I'll fill out the figures of this. Then I'll show you all the different categories. Okay. Then you could have hardware. This one depending on your project. If it's pure cloud-based, you might not need hardware, right? It's just cloud subscription. So I'll just put it there. For you guys at the back, you might not be able to see further down here, but I'll just write it. You can come up front and take a picture of this. So you might have software or subscription, cloud subscription. Cloud subscription. Okay. What else? Installation. These are possible ones, right? But installation here, installation or configuration, you might need it, right? You might charge it as a separate service. Depends how you cost it. And then 5, what's the last one? The last one is very important. Contingency. Reserve. Now what does this mean? R-E-S-E-R-V-E. Okay. How you guys are mostly living on your own, right? A lot of you are living on your own, right? Your parents will give you some money, then you have to budget for the whole month, right? When you budget for the whole month, you don't budget ngam every day, just enough only. You will put in some extra, just in case you want to go and buy something else or you want to go out with your friends. So this extra that you put in is what we call contingency or reserve. It's just in case of emergency, you might need the extra money. Okay. So in projects as well, it's important to put contingency so that you have some extra money in case something goes wrong in the project. So one good example is you have 4 months to do this, right? And you have to complete in 4 months because you committed to the client. The client said, I will need it in 4 months, you cannot delay it anymore. So you put in the contingency just in case you come to the month of October, then you realize, I don't have enough time to finish all my modules because I realized that some of the modules are a bit more complicated than I thought. Let me bring in an extra software engineer. So the contingency reserve can be used to pay for the additional software engineer you might need because of an emergency. But if your project is properly planned, properly run, you don't need to use your contingency. But you need it in place just in case something goes wrong. Okay. So then what will you do? You start filling in numbers in the months. Okay. So project manager 1, Yeah, I need the project manager. So maybe it's about $10,000 a month on the project manager, let's say you budget. Uh, First month, I definitely need the project manager full time there, so I'll budget this. September, because the project starts running already, he just needs to come in for progress meetings and things like that. So I need half of his time, so maybe I budget 5,000. October, I budget 5,000. In November, maybe, yeah, I need him back full time, because we're almost going live already. He will probably need to come in, meet a lot of the different stakeholders, talk with them, engage with them, because the project is almost finished, right? So we need him full time. The business analyst, let's say I budget 7,000 for the salary, and I likely need him only in August, first month only, because his job is to collect business requirements, right? After he collects business requirements, his job is done. Okay. Software engineers. Software engineers, I think after he collects the business requirements, does his analysis, does some of his design, but maybe I need one software engineer the first month to help him with the design part, right? Because he's done the requirements. And let's say that each software engineer, let's say $8,000 a month salary, okay? So I need 1 year, so I'll put $8,000 here to justify for that one software engineer in the first month of August. But September, October, November, I need all 4 because there's a lot of development work to be done, a lot of coding to be done. So 8 times 4 is $32,000, so I need 22,000 here. Because these are all salaries I have to pay a month, right? 32,000. Tester, I definitely don't need the tester so early. I probably need the tester in the last month only, so the tester maybe $6,000 is salary. Okay, so you do it like this. The other categories, it depends on your project. If you are doing a self-service kiosk, like anybody doing a self-service kiosk, got right? One or two of you, right? Then you might need to budget for hardware, right? Because you have to buy the kiosk. So you guys need hardware. But for those of you who are doing an online ticketing system, you don't need hardware, right? Because you are probably going to subscribe to the cloud service to deploy your applications and database, right? So you might not have a hardware category. Okay? Unless, of course, you are developing an on-premise system, then you need hardware and software, and maybe network as well, right? So it depends on your project, but I'm assuming, besides the kiosk, the rest of you who are developing cloud systems might not need the hardware. Okay? So something to keep in mind. Installation configuration. A lot of software projects do charge this, I think, in their projects because they have to install and configure at the beginning and at the end, just before they go production. They have to configure the production environment. So if you're developing a cloud-based system, you do have to configure your cloud-based system to make sure that it's ready for the production environment. For those of you doing the kiosk, definitely you will need installation and configuration, right? You need to buy the kiosk, you need to install all the software. After you've written the software, you need to put it on it, and then you need to configure to make sure that the network connectivity is working, the system is responsive, all those things. So those are under installation configuration. And then, of course, the last one, right, the bottom, which you guys can see at the back, is contingency reserve. So contingency reserve, if you want to budget, say 10,000 ringgit, I suggest you put it at the last month. You could do it at the last month. Depends on what you want to do, you could put it at the first month as well, but not use it, right? But just budget for it. So this is estimation, that's why it's called a budget, okay? It's not actuals. So there are two terms that you should understand from a financial perspective. One is budget, one is actual. Budget is this, my plan. Actual is what actually you spend. But what we are doing now is the budget, the cost estimation. Any questions on this? Yes?
Is it a must to start from August?
No. You can change anything you want.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just.
Yeah.
Okay.
And for the project, is that come from the project development team that we done in 1.1.1?
Oh, yes. Yeah, so it should match whatever you propose here.
Okay.
So if you have 12 developers, you should put costing for 12.
Okay, good.
Everybody okay? The last guy at the back, okay? Can see here? Okay. Can I erase this because I need to draw another chart for you? Have you all taken? Okay. Took photos already, then I'm going to erase it. So that is, let me see the agenda again. So that is, wow, time flies. Where are we? Oh, it's blocked. Sorry. That is project cost estimation. So we've just done project cost estimation, and now we are going to do project objective. Okay, so project objective, you have to be very clear what your objective of the whole project is, right? And typically the project objective will be defined with the client, between you and the client, your project team and the client. Okay? And the project objective must follow this principle of SMART. You've heard this before? SMART? I see a lot of heads nodding. So S-M-A-R-T, so I quickly go through it. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and must be time bound. So let me give you an example. In the interest of time, I will just close it just now. See, yeah. Oh yes, I will close it. Okay, let me open it up. Right. Show you. It's actually going to be in tutorial 2. Have we done your tutorial for this week? Not yet, right?
No.
Okay, so you see one answer. Okay. Let me make it bigger so you see this objective. You see the text in green here? Okay, so this is what I call a SMART objective. Why? So let's read it first, and then I'll break it down for you so you see why it's a SMART objective. The one in green, okay? So the project objective for my system, which is inventory and order processing system. Okay? So this is a different project. Okay? I'm building order processing and inventory system. Okay? So I'm very clear. Develop and implement a user-friendly automated system within 9 months. So I fulfill the time already. Yeah? That reduces order processing time by 70% and provides real-time inventory visibility. That means I can see what inventory I have in stock with fewer than 2% order errors. So if you pick this and go through each of these here, you can see that firstly it's very specific, right? I'm very clear that I want to reduce order processing time by 70% and provide real-time inventory visibility with fewer than 2% order errors. So very clearly you can see it's specific. So this is very clear. I think it's very obvious, right? Is it measurable? Yes. I have a time frame, 9 months, 70%, 2%. All this can be measured. After you've completed the project, you can measure to see whether you've achieved this objective or not. So that's why the objective must be SMART. So this is measurable. Is it achievable? This one is really dependent on your project. In my case, because I know I'm developing the inventory system and the order processing system, and I've given myself 9 months and I've developed the project schedule, I checked it and it's very achievable. So this one depends on you and the client, but with experience you will know whether it's achievable or not. Is it relevant? Yes, it's very relevant because it's a inventory and order processing system. I am measuring all the qualities of the order processing as well as the inventory. Yeah? So it's very relevant to the project that I'm doing, to the software project that I'm building. So it's relevant. Is it time bound? Very clear, it's within 9 months. Okay. You can make it even more specific. Okay. So for example, if I just stop here, develop and implement a user-friendly automated system. That's a terrible objective, right? It's not SMART at all. Even this one, you want to make it even more specific, you can say, I want to develop and implement a user-friendly automated system which requires very little user training. Or, that's not specific enough, which requires no user training. Because it's so user-friendly, there's no user training needed. So you could make it even more specific. Okay? So that's what you have to do in that section of your assignment. Let me switch it back. So you can see this one here, project objective. So in project objective, you will have to write up your objective, which is SMART. And after you've written your objective on that page, you should write a little bit about why is that objective specific, why is that objective measurable, why is that objective achievable, relevant, and time bound. Okay. So 1 page or half a page for this project objective should be enough. Half a page minimum. Put your objective and then write the paragraph or 2 at the bottom describing why that objective meets this criteria.
So teacher, it's not only the sentences you show as well lah.
You show the sentence, which is your objective, then the next paragraph describe how that sentence is specific, measurable, achievable.
you repeat?
Sorry,
Could you repeat?
can I repeat what I just told him?
Oh,
So on this page of project objective, at the top you should specify your objective, which is something like the green one here, lah. Something like the green one here. Okay, but this one, it must be specific to your project, lah, right? Because you are not developing an order processing and inventory system, right? So then after that, after you put your objective at the top, the next paragraph, you should write some paragraphs about why is that objective that you just showed specific. Why is it measurable? Take the example from the objective that you wrote, then explain why.
Alright.
Justify. Okay, then you haven't learned about this, but it's called a stakeholders. Wait, we went too fast. We finished project objective, now we're doing project team structure. So let's start with 2.1, which is team structure. What you have to do in team structure is actually very simple. Let me draw for you. Can I erase this?
Yeah, sure.
So for your project team structure, so if it's not clear to you by now, I just want to point out, in this software project team, in this software project, there are two main groups. One is your project team, which is your group developing the software project, and one is the project client, which you will be imagining or coming out with, right? So now is the project team structure. So project team structure can look like this. It's an organization chart. So you write project manager, of course, is the head of this project. So the project manager is here, and put the project manager's name down here. Okay. And then you can have, in my team, I have a couple of functions. So one function I have is the requirements, the user requirements function. I have to collect user requirements. The other one is I have a bunch of people who will do front-end development. You all know all these terms, right? Front-end, back-end development. Okay, developers, so you know. Front-end developers. Then I will have my back-end developers. Another bunch of people here. And finally, I have my team which will do quality assurance, which is a fancy name for testing. So these are the different functions that will exist in this project team, and here are the people in that team. So the people, I'm just using different colors to emphasize, of course you don't have to. So under user requirements, I will have a business analyst. And this is the name of the business analyst, you put the name. So you make up the names, so you can put members of your team in there or make up names, doesn't matter. Then I only need one, so I just draw one here, because I think one is enough, it's not such a big project. Front-end development, I might need 2 developers, so you just draw 2 here. So software engineer, put the job role here, or job title, software engineer, and then this is the name, and software engineer. This is the name. Okay. Back-end developers, not so complex my project. So I think 2 should be enough. It's really up to you. You estimate, and in real life, the way you estimate is really the project manager has to do the estimation, but the project manager shouldn't do it on his or her own. He should go and talk to the developers or the head of the development team and say, hey, you know, this is my project scope. How many developers do you think is enough? I think 2 for front end, maybe 1 for back end. I think it's enough. So the project manager should validate. That's why I say if you have a software development background, if you want to become a project manager later on, you know it's very advantageous for you because you understand the whole process, right? You will have in mind already, oh, this type of scope, I think I need 3 developers at least. You know already. But if you're a project manager who comes from a business background, never done IT, never done software development, you will struggle a bit because you find it difficult to estimate. Okay? So your background will be very helpful if you want to be a project manager later in your career. So back-end developers, okay, this project is not so complicated. Maybe I need, maybe I also need 2 also. So also a software engineer. I'll just put SE lah for this time. Name, SE, name. Or you can change it, depends on what you feel is important. You could put 3 software engineers for front end and 1 software engineer for back end. Or 3 for back end, 1 for front end. Up to you, okay? You estimate what you think is realistic. So this is a good time to start thinking about how many resources you need. Quality assurance, I only have 1. Software tester, that's his job title. Software tester, and this is his name. So in this example here, I have 4 software engineers, 1 software tester, 1 business analyst. Make sure it ties in with this. 1 business analyst, 4 software engineers, 1 tester, 1 project manager. All match. So make sure it aligns. They are the same. The numbers. So that is a visual representation of your project team structure. And what you should do next is you should write a small paragraph to describe this project management team. Okay? And what you can write is things like, okay, in our project team, we have these different functions: project management, a team to do user requirements, front-end development, back-end development, and quality assurance. And for the user requirements team, we only have 1 head count. We use the word head count instead of number of people. One person. Front-end development team, I have 2 persons. Back-end, I have 2. And quality assurance, I have 1, for a total of how many? 4, 5, 6, 7 people in the entire project team. That's all you need to do, write a small paragraph, okay, to describe this, to accompany your diagram. Then the next thing you can do is a table, your project team structure. So let me erase this part. So all this will go under team structure. Okay. So let me draw the table. And the purpose of the table is just to describe each of these people and what their role and expectations of their role is. Okay, so this is the project team, so you create a table. This is the project team. And you have a couple of columns, number, name, job position, task allocated. And here, okay. So this one, for example, so let's draw a table here. So your project manager, put your project manager's name. So number 1, so project manager Ryan Lee, job position, project manager. Task allocated. So you can write 2 or 3 points. You can do it in point form about what's expected out of the project manager. So one of the main tasks of the project manager is to oversee project progress. So I'm just giving you some examples. You can do some research to find out more about the role of a project manager. Project progress, team coordination, project progress and team coordination. Okay? And the second thing you can do is to manage timelines, deliverables, and team communication. Main point of contact for stakeholders, that's the third one. So you write 2 or 3 points about the tasks that this job roles will have to do. So that's one, primary, project manager, and you continue to the next one, Julia. What's the first one? Business analyst. So write 2 or 3 tasks allocated that the business analyst will do. responsible for collecting, gathering user requirements, analyzing and documenting the user's requirements, clarifying the user's requirements. Then then you can put the software engineer from the front end team. So try to be specific about what the front task allocated for the front end developer. Then you do all this. So in this example, you will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rows. Because there are 7 different people in the team. Okay? And that will complete your team structure. 2.1. Get out of the way. Any other questions?
Sir,
Yeah.
for the software engineers, right? If I have more than one of them in the table, I just add on below.
Yes. Because they are specific to the name of the person here.
Then the task allocated, I just
You just duplicate it. If they are similar,
For the team structure, just row at the name.
This one here, just a row and into. To your question about the task allocated for software engineers, you are asking just now. If you could be specific to what modules you are developing, then you can write under task allocated. Remember, I said you need to understand what modules you're going to develop in your project. So you could write for software engineer here to develop front end UI for the payment system or the registration system. Then another software engineer to develop because you have 2 software engineers, right, for front end, to develop front end UI for payment or registration system because they are both different. Okay? So try to be a bit more specific. So that's why it's important for you to know what modules you're going to build. And the modules you're going to build will be important when you start preparing your project, your Gantt chart, and your scope of your system. So you should know what modules you want to build. Just target 5 to 6 modules should be more than enough already. Because you have a short project, 3 to 4 months. Good question. Okay. I'll let you take all the photos, then I'll go on to the next section. Today we will definitely try to finish the stakeholder register and the communication plan. Definitely we'll finish that. Okay, everybody all right? For those of you who just came in, did I give you your attendance? No, right?
no.
That's really not quite okay.
4个人的话，4到5个。哦，4个。
15个你死人了，我跟你讲，你那个公司是这个压榨员工吧，我跟你讲，4到5个我就每天晚上睡不着，而且
但如果是2个人就5个模对吧？5个人1个模对。
378, 367. Please take your attendance before we all forget. 378, 367.
来，这是啥？什么是和那个谁单？
没有报告。
好像有，有。Okay, yeah. Really? Yeah. So many people have Wi-Fi issues. Okay. So so today is the 11 o'clock class. Sorry, which is yours?
378，对的。
Oh. Anybody got problems? Wi-Fi?
Me,
You again.
Barry.
Barry.
First one.
First one.
Right, thank you.
Me, yeah.
Yours also.
Ryan Lee.
Yes, that what I remember. Noisiest one. Ryan.
Yes. Thank you.
Everybody else okay? Okay. Okay, let's move on. We got 20 more minutes and we definitely will be able to cover. Okay, So we have done team structure. The next thing we're going to do is stakeholders register and communication plan. You guys all know what a stakeholder is, right? And most people think that stakeholders is only the client. But do you think your project team is a stakeholder as well? Definitely, right? Your project team is also a stakeholder. So you need to prepare a table. So a stakeholder register is just a list of all your stakeholders with some details, some more details, okay? Let me see. Okay, so the stakeholder register, you should have this format and it's given in your assignment specs. Where is your assignment spec? Here. You see this? It's already in your assignment spec.
Assignment spec.
Okay, so you specify the name of your stakeholder. Stakeholder register got two tables you have to do. One is your project team, one is the project client. So you create two stakeholder registers and you separate them. So the first one is, let's talk about the client, okay, the project client. So the first one is your client, and the main stakeholder, I think, of your client is probably the CEO and the department head of the software that you're trying to develop. I think at the top of my head, those are the two. So maybe you want to put the CEO's name here. The job position will be CEO. And what is the role of the CEO in your project? What's the role of CEO in your project?
Manage.
Monitoring,
CEO, but what is the role? It's important. What does he do?
monitor.
Monitor, control, approve. So the word I think we can use to make it simple is he's a strategic decision maker. He controls, he approves, he also monitors, but he'll leave his team to do that. So you can put strategic decision maker here. What is the expectation of that role? Here you can go and research a little bit the role of a CEO. Try to keep it simple. So for example, the role of CEO, the expectation is the CEO will oversee the overall business strategy. The CEO will ensure that all strategic projects must align with the company's vision, mission, and goals. Very high level. And finally, you can put it in point form here. Maybe put 2 to 3 points where for each job role. And finally, for the CEO, his or her decision, his or her expectation is to approve major approvals and budgets, right? Most of the time in large companies, when above a certain amount, only the CEO can approve the projects, the budget for the projects. Smaller amounts, maybe the head of department for that project can approve. So that's one. Another one from the client will be, okay, you guys, there was one team doing, was there a team doing a hospital appointment system? Anybody doing an appointment system? Doing an appointment system. Is it for a hospital?
Chinese traditional.
Chinese traditional. Okay, so maybe it's a big group and they promote Chinese traditional medicine practices. And your appointment system, right, that you're developing. The appointment system typically is who will own the appointment system in the company, in the client side. It could be a department who is in charge of registrations. Could be, right? So maybe there's a head of registration. So you have to do some research about who is the business owner of the project that you're trying to build. Okay? There's always a business owner on the other side. And the business owner cannot be the CEO unless it's a really, really strategic high-level project. But yours are smaller software projects, so normally there's a business owner. Okay? So like in my case, my example just now, I was developing order processing and inventory system, right? You know who is my key business stakeholder? The head of inventory. Okay? In my case, so if you are developing a customer success system, you want to keep track of all your customers who have successfully used your product and you can use them to promote to other customers. Who is the business user in that department? It's normally a head of customer experience or head of customer success. So you must find your business user, put that, make up the name for the person, give the job title, specify their role, and specify their expectations.
So they need to like specify their name.
Yeah, do specify their name, make up a name, you will have to. Yeah, specify a name.
Make up a name.
Yeah, you will have to make up a name, unless you know some specific people. Okay? So the other client stakeholder, it can be the IT manager, right? Because you are developing a software project that the company is going to use, and the IT manager will be a stakeholder. Because, let me give you an example. if you develop this project and your skills you have many skills in your company who can use to develop the project. You have people with Java skills, you have people with C++ skills, what else? You have people with all sorts of skills. You choose to say, I want to develop this on Java and I want to deploy it on the Oracle Cloud Platform, not Microsoft, not AWS. That's your technology choice you choose, right? But the IT manager might not agree with you because his team might not have those similar skills. He might have skills on Azure or Microsoft or AWS. So he might not agree with you. So the IT manager can be a critical stakeholder who can oppose your project. So you need to make sure that you take care of the stakeholders like him as well.
Sure.
Yes,
The IT manager is like in my company one, right?
the client,
The client
the
company.
client's company. Yeah. Because remember, we are talking now all about the client for the stakeholders. This one it says here. It says you only need to fill in the role column for the project client. So remember I said you have to do 2 tables, one stakeholder register for the client, one stakeholder register for your project team. For your project team, you don't have to fill in the role. Why? Because you already did that in the project team structure already. No need to repeat. Right? Okay. So for the project client, you have to develop this. For your project team, you have to do the same thing. But for your project team, it will be easier, right? You know the name already because you have it in your project team here. You know the name, you know the job position. You don't have to fill in the role. And the expectations here is very similar to the task located here. Okay? You just have to write it in a slightly different way to specify the expectations. Okay? So you can take a lot of the tasks allocated, rewrite it a little bit, and put it in the expectation for your project team stakeholders register. Is that okay? Clear? I see some not so clear face. If you want to clarify.
Question about the client side, right? Should we include the user? I mean, after we done develop the apps, right? Then the
You
user
think-
we're gonna use it.
Do you think the user is a stakeholder?
I think yes, right?
Yes, I agree. I think the user is a stakeholder. So yeah, you can include the end user who's going to use your software.
Should we focus on all the stakeholders or just on critical stakeholders?
I don't think you will have more than 10 stakeholders, right? I'm pretty sure.
I mean, like
Even all.
stakeholder, we also have some indirect stakeholders.
Give me an example that you are using.
My parents.
Parents is kind of end user also, right?
Yeah.
No lah. That's
Users' parents.
very indirect, right? I think for this assignment, just focus on the direct ones, the obvious ones. Because if you want to do indirect, my great grandmother also can be the stakeholder, right? So,
No.
but it's not relevant, right? In our context, so don't give yourself so much trouble.
Okay.
Yes.
The stakeholder register, there have 2 tables, right?
2 tables.
So the second table for our company one,
Yes.
we can just copy from the
You can copy from the project team, the table, but all I'm saying is that the task allocated there, you rewrite it as from the perspective of what expectations. Just rewrite it a bit, just rephrase it a bit, okay? But you can use all the points.
One more question.
Yeah.
Like this one, you say you have to be the client side, right? You have to be have a head of in charge.
Most of them time there's a business head who will be in charge because your software is developed for that specific business.
Yeah.
Right?
So if like you are delivering apps like cinema reservation apps system, then the head of the client will be the sales manager.
It could be the sales manager, yes. Yeah, because your system will help him increase his sales, right? So he will be one of the key stakeholders. In fact, I think he's your main business stakeholder. For those of you who don't know who your business stakeholder is, just do some research, you will find it. So like Ryan said, in his, because he's doing a ticket reservation system and that helps increase sales. Yeah, the head of sales will be very important. Good one. You guys okay? You guys in front okay?
Yeah.
At the back, all okay? Okay, good. Let's move on. We have like 7 more minutes, 10 more minutes. I want to do the last one, which is the communication plan. Okay, so let's go on. 2.3 communication plan. What is a communication plan? Communication plan looks like this. this is the table you have to prepare for your communication plan. Why is it important to have a communication plan for a project? Because it documents down all your formal communications. Your communications can come in the phase of in a meeting, that's a communication. In an email, that's a communication. In a report that is shared with many people on your internal portal, that's also a form of communication. But it's all the formal ones. So you should include all the formal type of communications. I'll give you some examples very shortly. But don't include the informal ones. Like your project manager decides to call the business user out. Let's go for teh tarik. I want to talk to you about this thing. That's informal, so don't include that, okay? Include the formal ones, okay? So let me give you some examples.
Starbucks, fine dining.
Fine dining，这个地方才算可以有一个没有钱怎么办？
你可以 claim 公司的。
Very 没有钱公司。
哦，我有 Q 我。
Okay, so your communication plan can be number one. I'll just write it here. I won't draw the columns. Name of communication. Okay, when you first start off a project, let me ask you, what's the first meeting you have called? Huh? A briefing. Ice breaking. Okay, ice breaking quite close, briefing quite close, but there's a specific name for when you start the project. You always have this first meeting. It's called a kick-off meeting. Have you heard of the term? Kick-off. Yeah, it's called a project
last semester
Yeah.
inspection
So project kick-off. Hey, guys, come on. So kick off, like football, you kick off from the center when you start the match, right? So project kick-off meeting. What's the purpose? So you can write down the purpose. Let me give you some examples here.
Off meeting.
The purpose is to align the team. Before I forget, your communication plan also you have to have two tables. One table for the project client and one table for your project team. Since both of them are stakeholders, so you create two separate tables. So let's do this one, project kickoff meeting. The purpose is to align the team on project objective, scope, deliverables, and timeline. For example, these are the key things you typically timeline. These are the typical things you do during a project kickoff. So you can set the stage so everybody is clear. This is what this whole project is about. We need 3 to 4 months. We need 4 months to complete it. And this is the scope. We have 5 modules to develop, and you set expectations for what is going to be delivered, and with the stakeholders there, because this is with the stakeholders, the client stakeholders, you also tell them, you will have to be involved, when we come to this stage, where we want to collect user requirements, please make yourself available. Don't go and disappear and take leave and go on vacation, because in the month of August, we need to meet with you, and we need your focus. The project kickoff meeting, you think your project team needs to attend? Or just the client side and the project manager? No. It depends. If you have a very large project team, you don't invite everyone. You invite the key people in your own project team to come. Definitely the project manager has to come. Okay? So, what's the frequency? The frequency is once. So this is the frequency, because you only do it one time at the start of a meeting. Okay? What is the method? So the method will be meeting. Okay. Who is the audience? The audience is the entire. So the audience you can put, depends what you want. If you want your project team and the client team, you can say entire project client team and project team.
Audience entire project plan.
You want to simplify and not confuse people, you can say entire client team and project team. The owner, Sorry, I got no space here, so I'm just writing inside. The owner is definitely the project manager. So that's what you would do. So this gives you an example. So some of you might ask me, hey, what other meetings do we have in the project? You should do some research, but let me give you some suggestions. Status meetings. Your business owner on your client side might tell you, hey, Mr. Project Manager, I want to keep a close track of this project because it's only 4 months, you know. So every week, I want you to send me an email telling me about the progress that you've done for the week. Updates, status updates. So you can call it meeting status updates. And communication plan, as just now we did, the method is meeting, right? This status update could be just an email, a report that you have to write, and you have to email to the business owner, who's a stakeholder. On Friday at 6 p.m., he asks you, every Friday 6 p.m., send me an email. I want to know what you guys have done for the week, any problems or challenges you may have, so that I can help you. Okay? And we can nip the problem in the bud before it becomes even more complex. So that's one, status meeting. If your project is done in an agile method, using agile method, you might have a sprint planning meeting before your sprint starts. You all remember, right? A sprint is typically 2 weeks to 3 weeks. Before your sprint starts, you want to have a sprint planning meeting. What else? Daily stand-up meetings. So daily stand-up meetings will be more useful for your project team, not for the project client, right? Sprint planning, yes, you will involve the client, but daily stand-up meetings is only your developers. Your project manager also doesn't need to be involved. So in that case, your daily stand-up meeting, the owner will be maybe one of the software engineers will take charge and run the daily stand-up meeting. Hi. You can include that in, but it needs to be official. What about before you do your testing? You might have a meeting, an official meeting during your testing to discuss. So you might want to document that down as well. So that's some of the meetings. Let me see whether there are any more examples I can give you. Milestones. Do you all remember what a milestone is? I told you last week. Important events in the project, right? So you might have a meeting, milestone meeting, and the milestone meeting is to review what has been achieved and what are some of the lessons learned. So that can be under your purpose. Your frequency, milestone meetings you cannot predict, right? Because it depends on your project schedule, remember? So you can put frequency at every milestone, refer to the Gantt chart. Because the Gantt chart, remember, if you put 0 days for a task, automatically it draws a diamond to show that it's a milestone, right? Method meeting, audience, definitely entire client team. The project team depends on you. And the owner definitely will be the project manager. So that's a milestone review meeting. So you know the status meeting I told you just now that the business owner wants to do every week. But you could have another type of meeting called a progress meeting, where the CEO wants to be updated. But the CEO doesn't want to be updated every week. The CEO says, every month you just send me an update, or you let's make it formal. Every month you just come to my office, I'll ask my secretary to schedule a time with you, end of the month, and I want you to present to me what your progress is. So the CEO don't want to read reports, he wants to talk to somebody, right? So you could document that down as another type of meeting. So all this will fall under the communication plan. Okay? So I think with this, hopefully you can start your assignment, and hopefully by next week you can start filling up to this stage, up to the communication plan. And then next week we'll continue this.
Okay.
Okay, yes.
So the difference between the status update meeting and progress meeting.
You actually define the difference. I give you an example. The status meeting would be with the business owner who wants a more frequent update. And the progress meeting could be with the CEO, a more senior guy who just wants a once a month update, and he wants a face-to-face meeting. He doesn't want a report.
So one is virtually,
One is email. Yeah, you can consider that virtual, and one is face-to-face. That could be one different change.
Teacher, would you check our assignment next week?
Yes, I can. During the class, we can check the assignment. But I also want to talk about this section, project scope. So yeah.
OK 啦 OK 啦，你 which class 了？
哇，这是
Okay, thank you. Thank you, teacher Ryan.
Thank you Ryan.
Okay, enjoy your lunch. See you. When will I be seeing you this week?
Later.
One more tutorial class 吗？这边 you can do it online one if you want.
Oh, that means I'll see you in block K, right?
Yes.
You,
只要改你的那个指标啊，
那你的把弯音给声，
才关掉。
你关这样快，我还没讲到你就关掉了哦。看一下嘛，
一点东西不好了。
我也是一点点吧。
for this one for client.
不如等我等我
打过
They will have to
remove the component and this one, this
might want some of the but some will be unique to client, some will be unique to team. Yeah, you're right.
教我，
他叫我
我用 IAD。他态度我想用 IAD 的啊。
所以
他 straight out 跟我讲，我那时候也是写 Adjust too simple. It's just a common thing. You need to specify. I think that you must use IAD 啦。
叫我只用
Rapid development. Rapid adjust. Rapid A 是什么啊？Agile 啊？不会的。我在 Rapid 什么 development 的？